Christian organisation is not a business, but there are great similarities, and the Bible has a lot to say about how a business should be run, and that a lot of that should translate into Christian organisations.
Jon, may I say welcome to the TFM team.
Thank you.
It's been great to interview you and to get to know you a little bit, but our viewers and listeners may need a bit of a catch-up, so I wonder if you could share a little bit about who you are and where you've come from.
Yes, well, there's certainly a story there, and God is most definitely involved in that story. I have been working in the pharmaceutical industry in the contract test laboratory as a laboratory manager for a long time. But through the years, I have often wondered whether there is something else. It was good for me because doing quality control in medicines actually was helping the community and, contributing something positively. But I've often wondered whether there's something else and whether God would lead at some point, don't know how, into something else.
Okay.
And then last November, I was put on redundancy, 3 months gardening leave. And even though I'd been wondering that, it was kind of, well, hang on, God, Lord, what are you doing? What's happening? Thankfully, my children are somewhat financially independent now, but it's still a concern, mortgage to pay, things like that, what's going on. But it was, redundancy is not always a negative experience, and went through it, learned of TFM, had relatively short history of knowing about TFM, but learned about TFM, learned what they do. My church is actually running a mission in October with TFM, and learned more about TFM and got on the planning committee, and then it was. I've learned that the position for administrator was coming up. Should I apply? I don't know. What? This is slightly terrifying. I applied. I was encouraged to apply by various key Christians around me who sort of said, look, yep, I think you should go for it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And obviously there's a story from TFM side in the background. But I applied and was accepted off of the job of Associate Evangelism. Initially, it was the admin side that attracted me,
you,
because I've done plenty of admin in laboratory work, but the evangelist sort of part of the role, if you like, came out, and it's slightly daunting, but I think it looking back over the path, when I was out of work, unemployed, it wasn't an easy, smooth sailing, but I'd love to be able to say that, yes, every moment of the day I knew the Lord's presence and he did.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that, and it's never like that. And there were ups and downs, but I can absolutely confidently say that in the downs, the Lord gave me a verse. Not that I would get this job, but that he knew what was going on and that he would provide. And then that sort of cured that down and then sort of lifted up a little bit more.
So you were exercising your faith and keeping your ears open to God.
It was severely exercised, but God, the Lord spoke, and he did encourage and he did lead, and that was what gave me added confidence that when I was offered the job, well, yes, actually, this is the way that the Lord is leading. This is the way we are meant to go. So,
Jon, so once you get your sort of feet under the desk, as it were, how do you feel you can contribute to TFM life? What would you bring to the role?
I think, as I've alluded to earlier, I think I can most definitely bring administrative skills.
Yeah.
Even from the early days, I'm now included in meetings and things. There's a daunting amount of knowledge to pick up.
Okay.
But I think that's, as with any job, you know, you go into a new job and there is a lot of knowledge to pick up. On the evangelist front, I think there's also a lot that I can bring. I think it's a fresh set of eyes to look at what TFM does. You know, not to come in and change things wholesale, but just a fresh pair of eyes to observe, make, and then make comments on, you know. And it has often struck me that a Christian organisation is not a business, but there are great similarities, and the Bible has a lot to say about how a business should be run, and that a lot of that should translate into Christian organisations.
Okay.
And I think having the experience of dealing in a business environment, fast-paced, high-throughput business environment, I think I can bring organisational skills as well. From the evangelistic front, we are in there's plenty of information out there that we are in a very, very rapidly changing cultural environment, and as you go down the age steps, the generations, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, etc., it's changing even more rapidly. You know, what is in fashion today is not in fashion tomorrow. And I think in lots of cases, not in all cases, there is very, very good work going on, but I think the church is lagging behind.
Right.
In the gospel message does not change. The good news of the Lord Jesus Christ does not change. But how we get alongside people and how we deliver that to people, I think it's a challenge for a lot of churches. And a lot of churches at the moment, the profile, the demographic is at the upper end, and it's a challenge for us to engage with the next generation, the younger folk, whether they are Christians. You know, we need to engage with them so that they can come on and join folk like TFM or other Christian organisations, but also just get involved in the local church. And I think that's what TFM. That's what struck me about TFM, is that we equip the church, give the church a nudge, give the people in the church a nudge. Hang on, look, it might seem scary, but just try. That's right. Go out and do it.
This is your calling. This is the basic training.
Just get out the door and do it. And I think that's again what really attracted me to TFM.
That's really good. And in terms of other things that you could offer, or your top three, where do you see the future? How could you help us over the next few years?
I think, and again, it's just starting out and I'm beginning to assimilate knowledge from how TFM. I think if you ask me that question in 3 months' time, I might have more of an idea.
Well, perhaps that will be the subject for our next conversation. Jon, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.